So, dear students, in today's class, we will understand the concepts of flowchart and algorithm. In the last class, I explained a few algorithms and flowchart. So, today I am going to explain it again in brief. Dear students, if you hear out this lecture till the end, I am damn sure that all your questions regarding algorithm and flowchart will be cleared out very easily. So students, let us move on to our first topic today, algorithm. So what is algorithm? Basically, algorithm is a set of instruction designed to perform a specific task. Okay. So now our next topic, flowchart. What is a flowchart? Flowchart is a pictorial or graphical representation of algorithm. So the definitions of algorithm and flowcharts are very easy. So students, there are a few symbols that are used in flowchart. Okay, while drawing flowcharts you need those symbols. So for start and stop you will have to use this oval kind of symbol. Next, for input or output you will have this kind of rectangular symbol. Okay, now for processing you will have this processing box. It is a rectangular kind of box. Also there is decision making, like if and else. So there you will use this kind of box, okay, to represent decision making. Now for data flow or flow direction you will use this arrow kind of symbol. So for on page connector and off page connector you are going to use this circle and this kind of symbol. Okay, so you can note out these symbols. These symbols are very easy to remember it. So now, as we have came to know the meanings of algorithms and flowchart, so students, let us now see how do we use algorithm to solve a problem. Okay, so how to write an algorithm? So our first problem is design an algorithm to swap two numbers. So now let us see what does swap or swapping mean. Okay, suppose let's take two variables x and y. X holds the value of 10 and y holds the value of 20. So at the end of this swapping program, the x should hold value 20 and y should hold 10. Generally, basic approach to do is by holding a temporary variable like this. Okay, the temporary variable acts as a placeholder to hold one value till you transfer the other value back. So now let us take a look. Okay, so while writing algorithm you will always have to start with step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 till the end of the algorithm. Okay, so always you will have to start with step 1. You need to declare start. Okay, then I have taken two variables here, num1 and num2. You can take any variables. Okay, so now see here in step 3, temp equal to num1. So what happens here? We store the value of num1 to temp. Okay, temp equal to num1 means we have stored the value of num1 to temp. As soon as we store the value of num1 to temp, num1 becomes empty and temp holds now the value of num1. Okay, we can store the value of num2 to num1 in step 4. As num1 is stored to temp, num1 has become empty. So now we can store the value of num2 to num1. Okay, after we store the value of num2 to num1, now num2 becomes empty. Okay, and in the very next line you can see num2 equal to temp. That is, the value of temp is equal to num2. So you can print the swapping values of num1 and num2 now. Okay, and at the end of the algorithm you need to declare stop. So have you got the point what I have said? You have a temporary variable here you have num1 here. Okay, you have stored the value of num1 to temp. Num1 became empty. Okay, so now there is num2. As num1 is empty, you have stored the value of num2 to num1. Now num2 have become empty. Okay, now what happens here is num2 equal to temp. The value of temp have now came to num2. So when you will run the program, you will get the swapping values. Okay, so now let us see how to design and flowchart. Okay, so the first problem of our flowchart is design a flowchart to swap two numbers. So I have shown you earlier the symbol of flowcharts. Okay, first you will have to start and stop. You need to declare in this oval symbol. Okay, then you need to declare num1 and num2. As in the algorithm, we have declared num1 and num2. Okay, now you see the main logic. Temp equal to num1, num1 equal to num2, num2 equal to temp. I have said you like temp is a temporary variable. Okay, we have stored the value of num1 to temp. Num1 has become empty. Now as num1 is empty, we have stored the value of num2 to num1. Now num2 is empty. Okay, now what happens? Num2 equal to temp. That means the value of num2 has transferred to num1, and earlier we have stored the num1 value to temp. Now num1's value has been came to num2. So when we will print num1 and num2, we will get the swapping values. Okay, so dear students, kindly note out this algorithm, or you can take a screenshot. Design an algorithm to swap two numbers. Okay, so you need to write algorithms like this. Algorithm is written like this, and you need to understand the logic. Okay, and flowchart of this algorithm you need to declare like this. Flowchart is declared like this. You can note it down. First of all, you will have to start, then you will have to declare variables, then the main logic of the program, then you need to print. Okay, then you need to stop it. So you have now got the idea about solving out algorithm and flowchart of a problem. So before we go on for doing any program practically, we need to have our concepts clear, then only we can solve out a problem easily without any error. Okay, now we are going to see the C program of swapping of two numbers. The compiler that we will be using here is Turbo C. So the C program begins with the header file. Okay, what is header file? Header file is a file that contains function for C in built-in library functions. Okay, these are header files. stdio.h, conio.h, these are header files. Okay, now after declaring the header files, now comes the main function. Main is the entry point of any C program. When a C program is executed, the execution goes directly to the main function. Okay, now the parenthesis, opening parenthesis starts from here. So in the algorithm and flowchart, you have seen we have declared two variables, num1 and num2, and this temp as temporary variable. Okay, so now the clear screen. In the program, we also need to declare the clear screen. It is used to clear the output screen. Okay, the previous output of data gets clean when you type this function in the program and execute it, this clear screen. Okay, now we'll have to enter here printf. What will enter? Enter value of num1. Okay, what does printf does? Printf is used to print character, string, float, integer, or anything to the output string. Okay, whatever you will declare in printf, it will be shown in the output screen. Now scanf. What is scanf? Scanf is used to read the inputs. Okay, so scanf we have declared here percentage d and num1. So why percentage d over here? Because see, we have declared integer type of variable here. Okay, so here comes percentage d and num1. Again for num2, we need to give the output, enter value of num2, and this slash n. Do you know why this slash n is used for? This output printf statement will be printed in a new line. Again scanf, I have said you percentage d, because it is a integer type of variable num2, so we need to declare percentage d here and num2. So now the main logic of the program, as I have said you, temp is a temporary variable, num1, value of num1 will be stored to temp, num1 is now empty, as it is empty, num2 will be stored in num1, num2 have now become empty. So what happens now, the temp variable will now be stored in num2, and when we'll print the program, okay, we will get the swapping values. Okay, so here printf, after swapping, as num1 and num2 were integers, so you will get integer type of variables, and at last you need to declare getch. What is getch used for? Getch is used to hold the output screen. Okay, actually what happens is that when you run the program may end very fast. Okay, and once it's finished, the output will not stay, so that you can see the answer. So we use this getch function. Okay, using this function, the output screen will not get closed until you press any key in the keyboard. Okay, so we need to use getch. So you have got the knowledge how to write a C program by solving algorithm and flowchart. Okay, so dear students, now let us see another problem of an algorithm, then we'll solve that algorithm to flowchart, then again we'll solve that algorithm and flowchart in a C program. We'll see how to do it. Okay, so our next problem is design an algorithm to show average of three integers. Okay, so as I have said you need to declare with step 1, step 2 till the end of the algorithm. So first you will have to declare start, then I have taken three integer types of variables, num1, num2 and num3, that is number 1, number 2 and number 3. Okay, now in step 3 what I will do, I will calculate the average. The formula of calculating average is num1 plus num2 plus num3, all these three numbers will be added up, and since I have taken three numbers, so it will be divided by 3. Okay, the result will be stored to average. In step 4 we'll print the average. Okay, then in step 5 we'll stop. So dear students, now let us convert this algorithm to flowchart. So let us look at how to do it. Okay, so here we need to design a flowchart to show average of three numbers. As we have done the flowchart algorithm over here, so now it will be very easy for us to design the flowchart of this algorithm. Okay, average of three numbers. So let's see how to do it. So start and stop box, I have said you earlier, so you need to start here. Now the input box over here. Okay, input num1, num2, num3, like this input num1, num2, num3. Now the processing box, the formula I have put over here, average equal to num1 plus num2 plus num3. Okay, now slash 3, because num1, num3 numbers divided by 3, and the result will be stored to this average. Okay, now we'll display the output, then we need to stop it over here. Okay, so this was the flowchart for average of three integers. Now let us look at the C program so that we can run the program practically. So let us see program to show average of three integers. So like I have said you earlier, we need to start with header files, then we need to start with the main function, then this parenthesis. Okay, now we need to insert three integer type of variables here. Okay, since we need to find the average of three integers, so I have declared n1, n2 and n3, or anything you can declare here, num1, num2 and num3. Okay, now these numbers will be added up, it will be divided by 3, and the result will be stored to average. Okay, now see, I have declared here the data type as float. So now what is float? Float is a data type that is used to represent floating point decimal numbers. Okay, like 10.32 or 6.3 and many more. Okay, because you see integer does not give floating point numbers as output. Okay, so we have declared here float as average. Now the clear screen part. Again the printf function over here, okay, so that we can see this line in the output screen. Okay, now what is slash n? We can get this line in a new line, so slash n is used over here. Okay, now scanf, percentage d, percentage d, percentage d. Okay, because these three are integers, n, num1, num2 and num3. Okay, now the formula for average, n1 plus n2 plus n3 divided by 3. Okay, so after getting the average, you need to print average percentage 0.2f average. So now what is this 0.2f average? Why I have declared here 0.2f? I could have directly given average. So now let me explain you why I have given here 0.2f. Okay, suppose after dividing these three numbers, I have got result as 56.6293. So what is 0.2f here? Why I have given 0.2f? Because you see 0.2f will print this 54.6293 as rounded figure after the decimal point. Okay, 6293 will be printed as within two numbers, so I have declared here 2f. Okay, if I would have declared here percentage 0.4f, it would have totally printed it like this. Okay, so here I have declared to get a rounded figure. I don't need so much long numbers. Okay, just I need the rounded figure after the decimal point, so I have printed here 0.2f as average. So dear students, just look here, this is the program for average of three numbers. Okay, this is a very simple program, you can note it down from here. So now students, let us see one more algorithm. Okay, then we will convert it to flowchart and we'll see its C programming so that you can understand it better. So our third problem is design an algorithm to show whether the number is odd or even. So you can do it now. See, step 1, what happens here? You need to start. Step 2, you need to read any number or take any number as input. Okay, now the main mechanism of finding odd or even. Okay, this statement, this is the formula. Okay, if number percent is equal to 0, then print number is even, else print number is odd. Okay, now what is number percentage 2 equal to 0? This statement checks, okay, this number percentage 2 equal to 0, this statement checks whether the number is divisible by 2. Okay, and does it gives remainder 0 or not. If the number is divisible by 2 and if it gives the remainder as 0, okay, then the program will print the number that you have inputted is even number, or the program will print the number is odd number. Okay, this is the mechanism to find out the number is odd or even. So students, now let me quickly show you the flowchart to see whether the number is odd or even. Okay, so let me proceed to the flowchart quickly. So students, this is the flowchart. Okay, so this is the box over here, oval box. You need to start, you need to declare any variable. Okay, here it is declared as read n. So now this is the decision box. Here the main logic of the program, n percentage 2 equal to 0. Okay, this means that this statement will check whether the number is divisible by 2. Okay, and does it gives the remainder as 0. If it does not gives the remainder as 0, then the program will print that it is a odd number. Okay, and if it checks and see that it gets the remainder as 0, then the program will print it as even number. After that it will stop. Okay, so students, this is a very easy flowchart. Please note it down, you can remember it easily. Okay, so students, I hope all your doubts and questions regarding algorithm and flowchart has become clear. I think now you will be able to solve any algorithm and flowchart with your own logic. So students, if you think that this video helped you out a lot, then don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and share this video with your friends. I will be coming with a new video soon. Till then, take care. Bye.